And welcome to another episode of South Texas Crossfire. This is Attorney Joe Flores. Remind you to join us each and every week right here on KTMB with the Lopez family. Special thanks to Don Humberto Lozano Lopez. He passed away in 2011, but he's honored, he's venerated, and he's never forgotten. With me is a good friend of ours. You all know him in the community. He's been around for a very long time. Not only has he served the community as a civilian, but he's also served his country, and now he serves on the bench. None other than our good friend, and that is Judge Joe Benavides. Welcome, Judge. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. Flores. Very well, very well.
Thank you for being here. And the holiday season is upon us, has come and gone, and now the new year is here. We want to thank you for being here. Judge, I want to catch up on some of the programs that you're doing with the children to help with truancy and also with helping the parents and everybody in the community, in fact. How are things going?
I think we stay pretty busy in the justice courts of Precinct 1. A lot of the parents, what we do with them, and also the children, is to educate them on issues that we have with bullying, issues that we have with drugs in the schools, issues that we have with truancy, and also issues that will prevent these young kids from not going to school. I believe that the more you educate the children and the parents, the better we are, that we don't have to be filing on these students into the court system. I've always said that it is the first line of defense, the justice court, so that's what we try to do.
Well, I know you work closely with Judge Tim McCoy, and he also is another line of defense for those children that are, truancy happens and then troubles start, and a lot of the time it is the parents' fault, and sometimes it's not, depending on who they are associating with. What sort of issues are you dealing with in your court right now? Other than truancy, what sort of dynamics are you seeing with the family and with the children that you're having to deal with on a daily basis?
A good question there. I think what's most important now that we have issues throughout the school system, throughout my jurisdiction, is the bullying. And we just have to educate the kids. I think there's 4 targets on who we educate, and that is, of course, the bully, the victim, the school system, and the parents. And I think we could probably, as long as we educate those targets that I just mentioned, I think we could try to eliminate as much as we can bullying in the school environment, because a school is known to be, should be, a safe haven where kids could go to school without being worried about being bullied around. And I think that's the number one issue we have now. And with Judge McCoy, as he's spoken, we've got a program, and we work together, the Justice Courts of Precinct 1 and County Court of Law 5, where we have kids that practically just stopped going to school. And he has a beautiful program out there, and we try to make sure that not only do they complete school, but also we work with the workforce of the Coastal Bend and try to get them trained into some type of a skill trade, where when they graduate and or receive their GED certificate, that they're actually employable.
Well, one of the things that I think people have or should remember, and if they've forgotten, they need to be reminded, is that that you were one of the co-founders of Education is Our Freedom, and now over 1,500 students have returned to school. They got their GED and are on their way to college. Those that children that people had wanted to give up on, you didn't give up on them, and neither did our community, our sponsors of Education is Our Freedom. And that's one of the things that I'm very proud of that you've done. Tell us a little bit, the community, remind the community a little bit about Education is Our Freedom.
Well, Education is Our Freedom, Joe, was established back in 2004, 2005. And what we did was, we knew for a fact we had issues with kids that are dropping out of school for all sorts of reasons. And you could bring up reason after reason after reason, or excuse after excuse after excuse, these kids not graduating. So we structured a program that would give them the ability, the opportunity to get their GED certificate. And not only that, once they graduated with their GED certificate, we have a program called Education is Our Freedom. And it was the founder is Joey Gonzalez, a local commissioner here in Nueces County. And it's a very proven program. And this program gives these kids an opportunity to try to achieve higher education and or a trade school. So that scholarship is out for any student that graduates with the GED certificate. So, and it really works. It's you have positive feedback from the students that took Education on Freedom scholarships. They are now employed and or at the university here locally and or Del Mar College. So it's a proven fact that the system does work with trying to reach out to these kids that are that thought they gave up, but now they have a little light at the end of the tunnel, an opportunity to get a better education, a higher education, and not only that, being employed.
And recently, you were in the news for a program that you initiated far away from here, also for children, young adults to be taken and attend a program that would help them that were at high risk. Can you tell us a little bit about that program that was outside of South Texas?
Yes, absolutely. It was the Texas Challenge Academy, a educational academy that I really just recommend to parents, and it's a volunteer program, and it's an educational institution. And it was very proven at the beginning 3-4 years ago when we utilized that academy that kids did graduate from that academy, and not only that, they ended up at Del Mar College or at the university. So it's a proven fact that a large majority, from 80 to 100 kids that went to TCA, are right now enrolled in higher education or employed.
Tell us a little bit about some of those children, those stories, those people that are not children anymore. I know that they're already grown young men and women. Give me an example of one. Give a little plug for somebody that you know that has made it, that is really an inspiration to a lot more children, that has even come back and given back and talked with you at schools, because I know that you go and talk to a lot of the public schools, all the schools all around South Texas here in the Coastal Bend, and talk to them about truancy. But tell me a little bit about one success story.
Yes, I had a young gentleman, I'm not going to mention the name, but that one young gentleman works at CATS 21 as assistant manager.
Where?
At CATS 21.
CATS
I had
21.
dinner out there one night, and he came
hungry.
up to me. He came up to me and he thanked me and told me, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to attend TCA, the Texas Challenge Academy, because now he graduated from high school, he's going to college, and he's an assistant manager at CATS 21. And I spoke to the owner over there at CATS 21, and he was very proud. That,
My good friend Theo.
Theo, absolutely. And he said the young man is a changed man, a good man, a man that's committed to his business. So that's what we want to do, make sure that our kids are successful.
Let's bring it back home a little bit. You are a retired, but always a Marine. Your experiences, I know recently it was the Marine Corps birthday. You were honored as one of the very few enlisted, high-ranking enlisted judges in Texas, and you were honored. You were a guest speaker there. Tell us a little bit about your influences in the Corps that you bring to the courtroom.
I think what I bring into the courtroom is that you got to have the courage to listen to all these different people, constituents that have different personalities. You have to be decisive on your ruling, the endurance to make sure that courtroom is open from 8 to 5, even during the lunchtime. I learned that in the military because our constituents need to have access not only to the judge but to the courtrooms. And that's what we get elected for, to represent our constituents and to make definitely sure we're accessible to our constituents. So knowledge, the loyalty to the court systems, all that from the Marine Corps I bring to the courtroom. And I think with my background and what was instilled in me by the Marine Corps, I think I've been very successful in not only reaching out to my constituents, but reaching out to the most vulnerable, and that is our students that are the at-risk population that need to be guided and guided in the right direction, and make sure that we have a judge not only committed to the courtroom, that people's courtroom, that judge must be committed to the constituents, our neighborhood.
Well, very well said. We've got a couple of minutes left, but knocking on 200,000 doors on the Time Warner, now Spectrum subscribers. I know that as a sitting judge, it's very hard to campaign. It's very hard. People can try to knock you down, take shots at you. And as a judge, you can't respond. you can only keep doing what you're doing. In the last minute and a half that we have, what would you like to tell our viewers about your program, your mission? Tell them anything you want. The stage is yours. Block walking for over a couple 100,000 doors here in our community.
Thank you, Joe. I've started my campaign back in 2013. Even way prior to that, I've always been involved in nonprofit organizations, and I believe that we cannot, in any way, shape, or form, give up on our kids. I think that's the most important thing, because our children is our future, and no matter what it takes, in the people's courtroom and the justice courts of Precinct 1, Place 1, it's all about solutions. It's all about working together and making sure we direct our children in the right path.
Well, very well said. I want to take this opportunity also to thank your courtroom staff, who I want to underline, it's not just about children, also landlord-tenant disputes. For those, let me educate some of my lawyer friends out there. For those of you who think that JPs are on the lower rung of the court system, let me tell you, guess who sets bond on your clients? Also, landlord-tenant, you may be getting kicked out of your own home, or you're the landlord on the other side. So there are a lot of things you do, and the amount in controversy is $10,000. So people even have car wrecks in your courtroom. Personal injury, truancy, the entry and detainer, landlord-tenant disputes.
Exactly.
I mean, you've got all kinds of stuff going on in there.
We go, Joe, from the civil to the criminal aspects, and pretty much everything. And I think it's what I learned a lot, with all respect to all the attorneys. I learn a little from each of them. And that's what a JP does, is to sit down there, listen, and also make definitely sure that we're doing what's right. And what's right is the law. And no one's over the law. We must make definitely sure that we do what's right for the constituents. And also, I want to thank all the attorneys that have practiced in my courtroom. I've learned a lot from them. I've learned a lot from regular constituents. And I think what's so unique about the people's courtroom, it's about a courtroom that a person that's sitting on that bench understands what our citizens are going through.
Because those citizens can bring their own lawsuit there. They don't need an attorney. It's
Correct.
the people's court.
Correct.
I want to thank you for being here, and that's Judge Joe Benavides, Gunnery Sergeant Benavides, and always there for the children, for our seniors, for everybody in the community. We want to thank you for appearing, and thank your staff for the excellent job they're doing. We're going to be back after a brief moment, but always I want to thank you for everything you've done for the community.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes,
God
sir.
bless.